Hello, everybody, and I'd like to welcome you to the meeting of Local Government North Yorkshire and York. It's good to see you all this afternoon. We've got a number of agenda items, and I'll soon be handing over to a new chair. So just to thank you all for the last 2 years, which the first year turned into due to the pandemic. I've enjoyed it. And certainly some of the meetings that we've had have been interesting. But I look forward to handing over to a new chair who I'm sure will continue to take us forward. First agenda item is substitutions and apologies for absence. And I'm going to go to and ask her to read any out that she wants us to record, please.
Thank you, Councillor Aspden. We have Louise Wood here in place of Stacey Bullet from Ryedale District Council. We haven't yet, I believe we haven't yet seen Councillor Steve Siddons from Scarborough, but no doubt he'll join the call as soon as he's able. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that. So noting those substitutions and apologies, and obviously that a few colleagues might join us a little bit later, and that moves us straight on to agenda item 2, is the membership for 21-22. Which has been circulated in the papers. I'll just give a couple of seconds in case anybody wants to indicate to raise any questions or comments. If not, if we could please accept the membership for 21-22. I'll take it as accepted unless anybody now indicates to speak or makes a noise. If not, hopefully, Ruth, do you want us to have a show of hands, or are you content with that?
I'm content with that, subject to your views, Chair.
Great. No, I'm very happy. Everyone's had the chance to indicate or shout if they're not happy. So in that, the majority is in favour of noting the membership for 21-22. Agenda item 3 is the appointment of chair to serve for 21-22. So we'll all know that Local Government York and North Yorkshire rotates the chairs and vice chairs amongst the County Council, the City Council and the District Councils, and 21-22 is the turn of the District Councils to be chair. So could I please invite any nomination for chair? Councillor Cooper.
Thank you, Chair. Can I nominate Councillor Angie Dale for chair, please? Thank
you very much for that. Could I please have a seconder for that nomination?
Happy to second.
Very much. So we've had a proposal and a seconder for Councillor Dale to take the chair. I'll just wait a couple of seconds in case there are any other nominations. I cannot see any indications. So again, Ruth, I just wanted to check. Do we need to formally vote on this, or can I just check again whether anybody's not happy?
I think you can just check whether anyone is not happy, Chair.
So again, everybody's had a couple of seconds to either indicate or wave. I can see lots of smiles, Councillor Dale. So therefore, I will take that as the vast majority being very happy that you're taking over as chair. I hope all the meetings run smoothly. And on that, I will hand straight over to you, Councillor Dale, to take us through the rest of the agenda.
Thank you very much, Keith. So shall we move on swiftly to item number 4? And thank you, everybody, for the vote of confidence, which is appointment of 2 vice chairs to serve for 2021 and 2022. Do we have any nominations? Nobody wants to be vice chair?
Shall I say, as it's the city and county nominations, I don't know how it works as I wasn't here previously, but I'm quite happy to suggest that Councillor Les should be the county vice chair. If he could do the same, as we're the sole representatives of those two, that would be great.
I'll save you your blushes, Chair, and propose both of you.
Absolutely. Can I was so right? Okay then. Do we have a second for that?
Thank you, Richard.
Perfect. Absolutely wonderful. Shall we move on then swiftly to item number 5? Do we have any declarations of interest? I'll take nobody shouting out, so we'll take that as a no. Item number 6, minutes of the meeting held on the 5th of March 2021 and any matters arising. Everybody okay with those? I'll take it that nobody's shouting out, so that's good to go. So moving swiftly on to item number 7, the LEP update. That's over to you, James. Hello and welcome.
Thank you. Hi everyone. Good to see you all. So yeah, just 3 things today in the LEP update to update you on. So the first is there's a national review of LEPs going on. Secondly is just some progress we're making on this reviewing the devolution asks. And finally, just progress in our capital programmes. So if we start with the LEP review, so obviously if you look at where LEP funding has come from historically, it's been the local growth fund, which was capital funding, and then European money, so ERDF and ESF, and what was called EFRID, which is the European money that came from the EU. Obviously, we've now exited the EU, and government has promised to put that money into what's called a shared prosperity fund, but they haven't yet decided how that money is going to be spent or allocated. So what they're doing is they're taking the opportunity to review the role of LEPs against that kind of changing funding and the background of COVID and everything else. And as you'll have seen and be aware, the capital funding through the Levelling Up Fund and Towns Fund has been going directly to local authorities. So there's a review of LEPs going on at the moment, which is joint between, it's been led by the LEP network nationally, but obviously with CLG and BAYS, the government departments who are leading that and who are actively engaged. And there's a number of different work streams. We're not quite sure when the outcome of that is going to be. It was due to be before the summer recess. However, when government created the Levelling Up unit in Cabinet Office, some of the key officers who were involved in that obviously had to be engaged in setting up and developing that Levelling Up team in Cabinet Office. So things have slowed down a little bit. So we don't quite know when the announcement will be. I think it's unlikely now to be before the summer recess, but at some point, obviously, in the autumn, we will expect the outcome of the LEP review. Just moving on to devolution. Also, just staying on the LEP review, obviously there's a number of things which we need to be aware of. Firstly, if the role of LEP changes, obviously we had quite a good close working relationship in the patch over the last few years between the local authorities and the LEP in particular. And obviously that's not just been about delivering the LEP agenda, it's been about delivering some of the agendas on behalf of the local authorities as well. So the work around devolution, some of the climate change work, some of the skills work has been kind of cross-cutting between the LEP and the local authorities. So one thing we will need to take into account is if government kind of split the functions up so that LEP has a very defined role on, say, business support, if it puts skills in a different place around the chambers and infrastructure through the local authorities, we do need to consider how we make sure that our agendas are still joined up. So it's within our control and with our remit to do that. But we need to avoid a situation where everything becomes quite divisive and split up, because it becomes harder to have a coherent strategy, but also more importantly, it becomes hard for the private sector to engage with us. And ultimately, we're looking to attract private sector engagement into the patch. Kind of linked to that then is the devolution asks. So we submitted our devolution asks before Christmas. We haven't had any progress on negotiation because what government have said is that until the local government reform decision is announced, they're not willing to start negotiations on the devolution asks. So what we thought it was an opportunity to do is just review the asks that we put in on the back of changes in government policy, and obviously also any further impacts that have come out on the back of COVID and the impact on the economy through that. So the overall vision doesn't change, the fundamentals of the asks haven't changed, but we're just going through them and to review them to understand if government policy has changed in any areas, and we either need to tweak the narrative or just look at how we're shaping that ask. And so that's taking into account things such as the towns deals that were announced. There's been some changes in public transport and transport strategy and other such things. So we're going through that process of reviewing the asks. That will then be fed through into Director of Development, Chief Executives, and back up to LGNYY, this group. So before we decide to make any changes in what we submitted to government. So it's just to update on progress around that. And then just the final thing is just around the final LEP capital programme. So like I say, the Levelling Up Fund, so the future funding at the moment is going directly through the local authorities, but the LEP has still got its Get Building Fund, which it secured 15.4 million last summer to deliver. It had to deliver half of that by the end of March, 7.7 million, which it successfully did. And actually it's on track to deliver the other 7.7 million this year. I've given a brief update on the different projects within the table. Probably the one which has got the greatest level of risk at the moment is the Thornton Road in Pickering, and we're working closely with Rydale and the developer there to understand the implications and any knock-on effect. I suppose the one complexity we need to take into account with this is that when government gave the money, they said you couldn't, if a project failed, you couldn't switch it to you couldn't bring a new project in without ministerial approval. So if in September, October, one of these projects wasn't able to progress, we can't bring a new project in without going and getting ministerial approval. And the timeline of that probably makes it very difficult to deliver. However, what we did do is, so the North Yorkshire Digital Infrastructure Project originally bid for 5 million, but we only allocated it 3 million. So we have an in-principle improvement, so that if any of the other projects slip, we can increase the North Yorkshire Digital, which is putting Wi-Fi into our town centres, up to the £5 million level, which is still then within the remit of the programme that we got agreed by central government. So whilst there are these constraints on it, we do have some flexibility because of how we've managed the programme, and we're confident that we'll fully deliver the 7.7 million by the end of the year. Just the recommendation is that LGNYY note the progress. Like I say, there's nothing, it's things in progress as opposed to anything which has kind of come to a conclusion, but I'm happy to take any questions that anyone might have.
Thank you very much, James. Do we have any questions for James? I'm flicking through, I can't see any questions coming through.
I have one question, Chair.
Oh, sorry, John, I did forget about you on
no,
the
that's
phone.
all right. You won't. I have to force myself in, as it were. James, you referred to the Thornton Road in industrial site in Pickering, which is, the highlight of the day so far, the one with the big question marks around that. Will you keep in contact with me as well as officers if you need anything done or pushed in relation to that?
Yeah, of course, not a problem at all.
Are you happy with that, John?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, so if nobody's got any further questions, can I ask that we take the recommendations at 5.1? Is everybody in favour of that? I think that's absolutely tickety-boo. So if we move on to item number 8, which is nominations to outside bodies for 2021 and 2022. And I believe that's over to you, Barry, am I right?
Thank you, Chair. Yes, it is. There's just 2 items that need to be determined on this particular matter. The first one is for members to approve the nominations to the 4 outside bodies that are listed in the report in section 2. And the second item that you need to determine is to determine whether the York and North Yorkshire's Vice Chair of the Climate Commission should be renewed every year, or whether it should be on a 3-year term. So it's those 2 items that are before you that need to determine. As I've had a slight hint that maybe the organisation that's listed in C for the LEP board with the district council representations, there may be a change on that one. The rest you may, as members, want to determine continue as the same nominations, but clearly it's a matter for members to determine now.
Thank you, Barry. I have Councillor Cooper wishing to speak. Do you want to come in, Richard?
Thank you, Chair. On the Environment Commission, I think the best way of handling that is to review the situation when the new unitary / unit trees are formed, because clearly it would be wrong, I think, for a member of a district council to be sitting on it when the district councils have been abolished. And it should be a matter for the unitaries to decide. So rather than have a 1-year or a 3-year term, can I just propose that we review it when the new unitary structures are in place?
Yeah, I'm happy with that, and I would second that proposal, Richard. Has anybody else got anything else that they want to say on that one? Or are we happy with that? I can't see anybody raising their hand. Sorry, apologies, I'm having to flick through screens. So we'll take it as that one, and then the other one was the LEP committees, am I right?
That's right. So there are 4 bodies there. The first one is the York, North Yorkshire in East Riding European Structural and Investment Fund Subcommittee. The report lists who the current proposals are. I'm not too sure if there's any proposals to amend that, or whether you just want to confirm the existing.
I'm happy for them to remain the same unless anybody's got a bit. Oh, hold on, I've got Keith. Councillor Askin, do you want to come in?
Yeah, thank you very much. In the papers, it says that our representative is a former councillor, but he's still a councillor, unless somebody knows something I don't, and he is going to continue as representative, please.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so is everybody okay with the nominations that we've actually got in front of us?
In reference to Steve Arnold, the councillor from Rydale, he's no longer the deputy leader, but I've talked to him and he said that hasn't met for some considerable time. He's quite happy to carry on, and I'm quite happy if he does carry on.
Right,
so
that's perfect. Yeah. Absolutely perfect. Thank you for that. So no amendments to that. So shall we move on to item number 9, which is arrangements for.
Sorry, Chair, if we're the substitutes to that probably ought to be me, because Councillor Duncan is no longer leader of Rydale Council.
Okay, yeah, happy with that. Makes sense.
Sorry, Chair, I probably haven't added to any kind of clarity there. There were 4 bodies that needed to be nominated to. That was the first one. The second one was the North Yorkshire Pension Fund Committee, District Council representations. I don't believe there's going to be any change to that, but it's just grateful if members can confirm that's the case. Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt, Barry, interrupting, but I think that I was referring to the substitutes for Councillor Arnold. Ought to be me instead of Councillor Duncan.
Yeah, we've noted that one, John.
Thank you.
We've
Sorry,
noted
Barry.
that.
So we're just moving on to that. It was then the third body was the Let Board District Council representation. So I don't know if there's a proposal on that particular item.
Well, it's Councillor Robson and Councillor Mark Graham, I believe, if I'm reading it right.
Can I come in, Councillor Dale? Yes. So it was approved actually, and it needs to be ratified. It's Councillor Robson, Councillor Crane, and also Councillor Siddons from Scarborough.
Yeah,
I understand it. Yeah.
Yeah. Everybody happy with that?
Propose that, Chair.
Seconder.
Happy to second, Chair.
Okay. Is that them all covered, Barry? Oh, I'm still missing one, and you're on mute, dear.
Sorry to prolong the item. The final one, which I don't believe there's any changes unless members tell me anything different, was the Yorkshire and Humber Strategic Migration Group. But I think members are going to be happy with the existing. You tell me differently.
Yeah. So can we have a proposal for that? That's Councillor Foster and a seconder. Councillor Cooper. Oh, we've done on that one now.
Go on, then. You've done that one, thank you.
So we will move on to number 9, which is arrangements for future meetings, which we've got Friday the 15th of October and Friday the 10th of December. And then item number 10, business for the next meeting. Presume that'll come as it comes, and then so we'll move on to item number 11, any other business. Has anybody got anything else? Speak now or forever hold thy peace. John? Because I'm just conscious.
I've nothing. I've caused enough trouble already.
You don't, dear. Well, if that's it, then we shall conclude the meeting closed. Thank you very much for everybody turning up today on a Friday afternoon, and enjoy the rest of your day.